Hi there, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time joining, my name is Vicki Fisher and I am a yoga teacher. Welcome. Today we will be moving through a gentle Yogalates practice focusing on core, glute and spine strength. So if you'd like to join, we will start laying down on our back, coming down onto your mat, extending your legs out, bringing one hand onto your heart and one hand onto the belly. Just beginning to come into your practice. Beginning to take a deep inhale, filling your belly, your chest, your throat. And exhale from throat, chest, belly. Taking another deep inhale, feeling your belly, your chest, your throat. And exhale from throat, chest, belly. Releasing the breath. Allowing your breath to become fully natural, just feeling the gentle rise and fall of your belly and chest. Feeling the air as it moves in and out of your nostrils. And releasing your fingers down, opening your eyes. Beginning to do some circles through your ankles. Taking your ankles in big circles, stretching the feet, changing direction. Beginning to warm up the feet and ankles. Starting to take your head from side to side, stretching the sides of your neck while massaging the back of the head. And lastly, taking your hands up overhead, beginning to do circles with your wrists, circling around the wrist joints, changing direction, getting out any clicks in the wrists. Bringing your fingers together and starting to flick your fingers, warming up through the hands, and then taking your hands down to the ground, stepping in your left foot, bending the knee, stretching your right leg out and taking your right hand overhead. Imagine someone is pulling your right leg down and your right wrist up, stretching the right side of the body as much as you can. And bringing the knee and arm back in, extending out your left leg and left arm. Repeating on the left, so trying to take your left heel as far from the hip as you can, while stretching your left fingers as far from your shoulder as you can, stretching the left side of the body. And bringing it back in. Okay, preparing to warm up and wake up the core by taking your knees above your hips, flexing through the feet, pressing your hands into the ground, and starting to kick your right heel out to about 45 degrees, bringing it back in. Repeating with the left, trying to keep your lower back sucked into the ground, bringing it in, kicking out with your right heel, trying to make sure that there are no spaces between the back and the floor as you kick out your left heel, bringing it in, and repeating on the right, kicking out, bringing it in, kicking out on the left, bringing it in, and now trying to see if you can go further down, just off the mat with the right, bringing it in, and kicking out the left heel, bringing it just off the ground, bringing it in, and now taking your hands up above your shoulders, doing a dead bug, so extending right leg, and left hand back, opposite hand, opposite foot, and then bringing the hand and the leg back to center, extending left leg and right hand back, bringing them back to center, switching the leg and the arm, continuing at your own pace, focusing on keeping your belly sucked into your spine, no spaces between the lower back and the ground, kicking the heels as far away from you as you can as you extend, and trying to keep your stationary leg and arm completely stable, so don't allow them to float around as you extend the other arm and leg. And doing your last one, stretching out, bringing it back in. Okay, taking your hands to your ears, bending the elbows and lifting your chest up, taking a crunch position. From here, extending your right heel out, taking your right elbow to your left knee, coming back to center and switching the legs, taking left elbow to right knee, bringing it in, switching sides, extending right leg and extending left leg. Keep moving, keep breathing, trying to crunch your belly in the center as you take opposite elbow to opposite knee, kicking the heels as far away from you as you can. As you extend the leg, this will engage your lower belly deeper. And doing one more to each side. Bringing it to the center and lowering your head down, bringing your knees to chest and taking little rocks from side to side, massaging your lower back. Well done. You should have felt that in your core. Okay, so moving into our glutes now, taking your feet to the mat, preparing for bridge pose, beginning to tuck your pelvis up and then pushing through your heels to lift your hips up off the ground as high as you can, squeezing the knees in towards each other, squeezing the glutes to lift the hips up as high as you can, keeping this position and breathing. Holding for one more deep breath. And coming up onto your toes, beginning to roll your spine down, one vertebra at a time. Preparing for round 2. Pressing through the heels, beginning to lift the hips off the ground. This time taking up your left leg, bending the knee. And then pushing through your right heel to lift the hips as high as you can, Holding here for another 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the foot down, switching sides, taking your right foot up, bending the knee, pressing through the left heel to lift the hips up as high as you can, holding and releasing the foot down, holding in the center for 5, 4, 3, lifting higher, 2, and 1, releasing down, bringing your knees in, squeezing them to your chest, and once again rocking from side to side. And releasing the feet down, beginning to roll over onto one side, preparing for some clamshells. Extending your bottom arm out and resting your head on the arm, bringing your feet together and bending your knees. Making sure your hips are stacked on top of each other, and then beginning to open up your top knee and lowering it down. Really trying to squeeze the glutes at the top of the movement and using that squeeze of the glute to lower your leg down. Keep moving at your own pace, focusing on controlling the movement with your top glute. Keep breathing, inhaling as you lower the knee, exhaling as you lift the knee up and squeeze. Doing one more. And releasing down. Now extending your top leg out straight, keeping it in line with the hip, taking your foot up and squeezing the glutes at the top, and then lowering the foot down. Keep breathing and keep moving at your own pace, taking the foot straight up to the side and straight down. Keeping the foot flexed and trying to keep your toes pointing directly forward. Squeezing the glute at the top and using the glute to control the movement down and up. Doing one more. And bringing it down, taking your foot to the front now to 45 degrees, and then taking your foot all the way up and back and dropping it down, creating a big circle with your leg. This time pointing the toes, drawing a big circle forward to a diagonal, up and back, and dropping down. Trying to keep your belly engaged, keeping your hips stacked and stable, using the strength of the glute, and reversing the direction of your circle. So now taking it back, and then forwards, and then down to the diagonal, and then back again. You should be feeling this in your glute. And doing your last big circle, bringing it down and bringing your knees together, taking the knees in towards your chest and just resting here. You should be feeling that glute pumped up right now, so taking a moment to allow it to fully relax. Okay, gently pressing yourself up and simply switching to the other side, preparing for your clamshell on the opposite side. bringing your feet together, bending the knees, and beginning to open up your top hip, squeezing the glutes at the top and lowering your knees back together. Continuing with this movement, inhaling as you lower down, exhaling as you lift the knee up. Continuing, keeping your belly sucked in, trying to stabilize your hips, so not moving the hips at all, just opening and closing the knee. Squeezing at the top, lifting the knee as wide open as you can. And doing your last repetition. Bringing the leg out straight now, flexing the foot and beginning to raise and lower the leg in line with your hip. Taking the foot as high as you can, squeezing the glute at the top and using the glute to control the downward movement as well. Once again, trying to keep your toes pointing forward. So trying not to open up the hip to the sky as you lift up. Keeping the hips level and balanced as you raise and lower a straight foot. And doing your last one, lowering down, taking your leg forward to the diagonal, lifting it up and back and around and back down, drawing a circle with your pointed toes. Once again, trying to keep your belly sucked in, keeping the hips level. Doing 2 more. And changing direction, taking the foot back, up and around. Really concentrating on keeping that core engaged, keeping the hips stable, drawing big circles with the toes. Doing 1 more. And bringing the knees together, taking the knees higher up towards your chest, laying here for a moment, allowing your glutes to relax. And extending your legs out, rolling through to your belly and coming into a Sphinx pose. So bringing yourself up onto your forearms, making sure the forearms are parallel, bringing your elbows close to your ribs, spreading the fingers wide, and then drawing the mat back towards your ribs to open your shoulders and chest. Holding here and breathing. Squeezing the shoulder blades back together. And beginning to release down, lowering the chest, taking your hands back, preparing for a half locust, pressing your palms of your hands into the ground, the tops of the feet into the ground, beginning to lift only the chest off the ground, looking forward, squeezing your shoulder blades back together, holding for 1 more inhale, and exhale, lowering down. Repeating 1 more time, pressing feet into the ground, hands into the ground, and lifting your shoulders and chest up. Squeezing the shoulder blades back to lift the chest higher. Inhale and exhale, lowering down. Preparing for full locust. Inhale and exhale, lifting your toes up and back off the ground, lifting your hands up and back, reaching back through the fingers, squeezing shoulder blades together, holding for one more inhale, exhale, lowering down. Preparing for one more round, lifting your feet up and back, hands interlace this time behind the back, drawing your hands back to open the chest, lifting up and lowering down. Okay, coming into a Superman, taking your hands forward, looking forward. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lifting your feet up and back as you lift your hands forward and up. Reaching in opposite directions, lifting up. Taking an inhale. With your exhale, taking your arms, bending them at the elbow. Taking the arms into a cactus position, holding and lifting the chest higher. And then lowering down. Resting on your cheek. Okay, now we will attempt a full bow pose. So beginning to kick up one foot at a time, seeing if you can catch the foot with your hand around the outside of the ankle. If you have both feet, kicking back into your hands to lift your shoulders off the ground. Maybe kicking the feet up to the sky to bring the knees off the ground, coming into a full bow. Taking the big toes together, lifting a bit higher, and releasing out. Coming back to your belly. And preparing to do some chaturanga push-ups. So tucking your toes, sucking your belly in, pushing through your hands to come onto your knees. Taking your weight a little bit forward in front of your wrists. And as you lower down, keeping a straight spine, belly in, elbows brush back next to the ribs. Using your triceps to push back up. Lowering down, elbows going back, pushing up, doing 3 more, lowering down, pushing up, 2 more, lower down, pushing up, last one, lowering down, belly in as you push up, coming back into a well-deserved child's pose. Taking your head down, relaxing and rounding the spine. Beginning to gently climb back onto your knees and coming through to a seated position with your feet forward, preparing for Navasana or boat pose. Taking your hands up, taking your chest back until you feel your core engaging, then taking the feet up, shins parallel to the floor, or if you want to challenge yourself, you can straighten the legs. Wherever you are, clasping the hands together and taking a twist to the right side, coming back through center and twisting to the left, Keep moving and breathing. If you would like to make it easier, you can place your heels down, keeping your chest tilting backwards to engage the core. Keep twisting for one more to each side. Coming up through the center and lowering yourself to a low boat, heels just off the mat, holding your belly in for 3, 2, and 1. Releasing down. Well done. Just bringing your knees to chest and rocking gently from side to side. Coming into a figure 4 pose, bringing your right ankle on top of the left knee, grabbing behind the left knee as you pull the knees into the chest, stretching out your right hip and glute, breathing into the spaces where you feel tension, trying to relax and release the tension. And keeping your legs as they are, extending your arms out and allowing your legs to fall to the left side, turning your head to look right. Bringing your knees back up through the center, switching the legs, left ankle on right knee, grabbing behind the right knee and pulling the knees in towards the chest. Once again, breathing into your left hip and glute. Extending your arms out to the side as you take your knees to the right side, turning your head to look left, twisting and breathing, allowing your spine to unravel. Beginning to bring your knees back up through the center, preparing for a happy baby pose. So taking your legs up to the sky, opening the hips, grabbing your ankles or the outsides of your feet, whichever you can grab, opening your hips wide, bending the knees, and taking rocks from side to side, massaging your spine. Coming to the center, taking your feet together, drawing the heels in towards your groin, allowing your hips to release. And then taking the knees together, giving yourself a big squeeze, squeezing yourself as tight as you can. And then releasing your legs out, allowing your feet to fall open, releasing your hands out to the side with the palms facing up. Taking a good 5 minutes or more to fully rest and relax in your Shavasana, and allow your body to just absorb everything you've just done in your practice. And yeah, please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Please comment to tell me how you found this practice. Until next time, sending lots of love.